Come back to France now, where the ongoing trial of Gisèle Pelicot has been taking evidence from the scores of men accused of raping the 72-year-old grandmother who had been drugged unconscious by her husband. In that court in Avignon, in the south of France, Dominique Pelicot has admitted to drugging his wife for a period of nearly 10 years with the intention of raping her or having other men sexually assault her. To take us through where the trial is at the moment, I'm joined on the set by Annette Young, the host of the 51%. Annette, what have we been hearing from those men who stand accused of raping Gisèle Pelicot?
Well, according to Le Monde, 25 men, including Dominique Pelicot, have already given evidence in the last few weeks, and in addition, another 20 more, and possibly others, will be giving evidence in the months to come. The latest group of defendants include an ex-machinist, a carpenter, and an IT technician, aged between 40 and 74, some married, some divorced, some not. This is what some of them had to say. There was one man dubbed Vincent C., a 43-year-old, who visited the Pelicot house on 2 occasions. He admitted that the acts that he committed at the time were not acts of rape. He didn't think it was rape. The video of what occurred was filmed by Dominique Pelicot and played during the trial. Another was a married truck driver. He said he had consulted the chat rooms on that infamous website, coco.fr, which has since been shut down and the cause of many concerns and criminal complaints by police. He said he was just curious. He wanted to see photos. He started exchanging emails with Dominique Pelicot, who offered me gardening work and as means of payment offered his wife. Again, some extraordinary bits of evidence emerging in the course of this trial. There was another one, a gentleman by the name of Jean-Marc L., who was a truck driver as well. He married, divorced, a grandfather, said he was an habitual user of prostitutes and had also frequently perused coco.fr, this notorious website, because he admitted in court that his latest partner wasn't the greatest when it came to sex. And then finally there was Mohammed R., who actually, it turns out, visited not their home in Mazan near Avignon, but in fact the Pelicot's daughter-in-law and son's holiday home in Ile-de-Ré in May 2019. Now, the interesting thing about this trial is, unlike British and Australian court trials, we are actually hearing about the criminal records of those accused. And in this case, it turns out Mohammed had been convicted 5 times. In 1999, he'd been found guilty of raping one of his daughters, who was 14 at the time, and had spent 14 years, if I stand corrected, in jail as a result. So you're starting to get more of an overview of the type of men involved. Having said that, a lot of them are ordinary individuals with no criminal records.
The court's also starting to investigate as to how the husband, Dominique Pelicot, was able to access so many different medications that allowed him to drug his wife for so many years. I mean, what does this say to us about the medical profession?
Indeed. Well, first and foremost, it says that there is no training at all among healthcare or medical workers in France when it comes to chemical submission, as it's called in France. We would probably call it drug-facilitated sexual abuse. Now, one of the doctors giving evidence at this very lengthy trial is none other than Joël Pelicot. And no, it's not a coincidence that he has the same name as the accused and also the victim, but he happens to be Dominique Pelicot's older brother, and apparently one of those who Dominique Pelicot reached out to get prescriptions of various drugs. The main drug that he did use was Trimester. This apparently he decided to use it after talking to a nurse online. As a result, this drug put his wife in a very deep sleep, allowing him and others to sexually abuse her. But of course, given the length of time involved, that this went on over nearly a decade, clearly it started to have a health impact on Gisèle. And we've talked about this before, where she was having memory loss and other issues. But again, the key point about all of this is the fact doctors still to this day have no medical training on what it clearly is a key critical problem.
Annette, just to wrap up, in recent weeks, we've seen a hashtag, Not All Men, that's actually been gaining traction on social media. Tell us a bit more about that campaign.
There's no doubt, Jeannie, that this really is a historical moment in France, and I would argue it's actually the country's true Me Too moment, because it's not just men in positions of power and privilege, but it's ordinary men who've been caught up in all of this. And I asked a guest recently, Rachel Faure-Plades, who's a French feminist lawyer who's done a lot of work in women's rights, about this emergence of the Not All Men social media hashtag, and this is what she had to tell me.
I see a lot on the social media lately this hashtag saying that not all men, yes, not all men are rapists, but almost all rapists are men. Another thing that struck me is the support that Giselle Pelicot received. You see, when you are accusing somebody else of rape, it's not so common to have some women applaud you at the outside of a courtroom. It's not so common to have these big protests that happen, like those that happened in France a few weeks ago, to show support to Giselle Pelicot. So I guess we might be, and I hope we are, with some kind of cases that may maybe be a landmark in the feminist battle that we have in France and maybe also abroad.
Annette, thank you so much for giving us the very latest on that trial that has truly shocked the country here in France. Thanks so much. Well, if you want the very latest on that or any of the stories we're covering for you, don't forget you can always check out our website. That address is france24.com.